Hi, it's Alex from You Should Craft, and today we're going to talk about how to crochet the Sunburst granny squares. To crochet this project, you'll need an H crochet hook that's 5 millimeters, and 2 different colors of worsted weight yarn, though you could definitely just use one or more. It's totally up to you. If you're using a different yarn, you could still crochet this project, but you'll need whatever hook matches the yarn you've chosen. So like a chunky yarn would need a bigger hook. And then you'll also need scissors and your tapestry needle so that you can trim and weave in the ends when you're done. So you'll begin by crocheting a magic ring. So you'll lay the yarn over your hand, wrap it around 2 or 3 fingers to make an X, and then you'll stick your yarn under the bottom piece of yarn and then kind of over the top and pull it through. So this creates that adjustable magic ring. So we're going to start by chaining 2, which will count as our first double crochet, and then you'll crochet 15 double crochets into this, so you'll have 16 total counting that starting chain. Sorry, there's dog hair on everything I own. And then once you have a few in here, you can kind of tighten your ring a little bit. That's what makes it magic. But it'll also help you kind of see it better, and it won't be as weird and floppy. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3. All right, so here's our 16. So we'll finish pulling our ring tight, and then you're gonna join to that top of that chain 2 with a slip stitch. All right, so there's your first row. We're going to chain 2. And then we are going to puff stitch. So you're going to start out like you would with a double crochet, where you yarn over and push it through, and you're going to keep going until there's 7 loops on your hook. And you have to kind of wiggle it around. Then you're going to pull it through. So this is your first puff stitch, and you'll finish it off by chaining 1, and this kind of seals your puff stitch. And then you'll chain a second one, and that will kind of separate them in your pattern. So another puff stitch. You gotta kind of wiggle it to make sure you're getting through all of the yarn. And then chain 1 and another one. And so you're just going to puff stitch all the way around, which will give you 15 puff stitches. So remember, you'll yarn over, put it through, pull it through once, yarn over, put it through, yarn over, pull it through. So now we have 5, and remember, we're going for 7. All right, so 2, 4, 6, 7 loops on our hook. Yarn over again and pull it all through, and I've got a little bit of extra, and that will kind of go away once we chain. So once you have your 16 puff stitches, you'll just join to the top of the first puff stitch with a slip stitch. And then now you're on round number 3. So again, you're going to chain 2, and this will count as your first double crochet. What we're going to be doing is double crocheting 3 together. So this first one will end up just being a DC2 together, but then we'll double crochet 3 together around the rest of it. So to DC together, you're going to kind of half do a double crochet. So you'll yarn over, put it through, yarn over. And so here you kind of have these like half finished double crochets on your hook. And so for this, we just want the 2. So here's our starting chain 2, and then a half a double crochet and half a double crochet. So you'll just yarn over, pull it through, and then we're going to chain 1. And then in the next chain space, now we're going to double crochet 3 together. So you'll start off just like a double crochet again, and you'll have your half finished one. So you're just not pulling through that last time. All right, so here's 2. And 3, so here's our 3 together, and then we tie it off with a chain, and then we chain 1 to separate them. So you want 16 total of these DC3 together stitches. So here's our 3 half double crochets again. Or like half of a double crochet, not a half double crochet. And then we pull it all through, and then we chain 1 to separate it. So go ahead and pause the video and finish doing 16 double crochet 3 together stitches. And I'll see you in a sec. So when you have your 16 DC3 together clusters, you are going to trim your yarn because you're done with this color. If you're only using one color, then just ignore this part. You'll just, continue the row or the next row. Okay, so you'll trim your yarn, and then I like to do what's called an invisible join. And to do that, you're just gonna use your hook to pull your yarn all the way through. And then you'll attach your tapestry needle. And you're going to kind of connect it, it's like above that chain 2 that you started with, kind of in the top of that first double crochet. And basically this will just overlay it, and it'll look like these little V's that the tops of the stitches make. So then you're going to go down into the same hole that your yarn was coming out of, and I just like to kind of poke it through the stitch too, and then pull it tight. So if you look, you'll see that it just looks like one of these other stitch tops, and then you'll weave in your yarn like you normally would. And I'm going to be kind of lazy right now and just leave it on the back. But if this was for a blanket or a finished project that you were trying to work on, you would definitely finish weaving in your ends. All right, but so now you need the border. And so ours is going to end up looking like this one, where I'm going to use this kind of turquoisey yarn on the edges. So you're going to join your yarn at literally any of these spaces. You'll make kind of a slip knot, and then you'll put your yarn through, and then once it's through, you'll kind of bring the slip knot through, and then you'll chain. So we're going to chain 2, which will count as our first double crochet, And then I'm going to crochet 2 more double crochets in this space. So we're going to keep doing this where we're going to put 3 double crochets in our next 2 spaces. So 1, 2, 3, and then here's our last space. 1, 2, and 3. So this is basically going to be a side of our edging. This is kind of what turns our circle into a square, a granny square. So the next thing we're going to do is triple or treble crochets. So you're going to yarn over twice, and you're just going to do 3 of them into this next hole. So triple crochets are the same concept as double crochets. They're just a little bit taller, and so you're going to just yarn over more times. So you'll yarn over twice to start. Then you'll just keep yarning over until you're just left with that one. Oops, forgot my 2. So we're doing treble crochets here because this is going to be your corner, and so it just needs to be a little bit taller. Then we're going to chain 2, and we're going to do 3 more treble crochets in this same space. And so this will be your little corner. All right, so you will basically continue this same pattern around until you have a full square. So here you've got your side, which is 3 sets of 3 double crochets, and then your corner, which is 3 treble crochet, chain 3 treble crochet, chain 2, and then 3 more treble crochets. So as you crochet around, you'll do 3DC, 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 and then you'll have another corner in the 4th space. So just keep doing that around. So once you've finished your whole border to make your square actually be a square, you're just gonna do that invisible join again. So you'll trim your yarn, pull your hook all the way through, join your tapestry needle. Oops, my yarn was kind of fluffy. And then again, you're going to kind of go over where this like chain 2 was, through both loops, pull it all the way through, and then you'll kind of go in through the whole stitch. This just helps kind of get a head start on weaving in those ends. But you'll gently pull it, and then you should have just a little V, kind of like all these other little V's you have at the top that are just the tops of the stitches. And then you'll weave in your ends. You will hopefully do a much better job than I am doing in this video. And you're done. If you notice that it's a little bit like lumpy, that is not a big deal. You'll block it, and that'll make it like more square. You basically get it wet and then kind of stretch it out, and you'll use something to hold it down, and then that'll make all your squares be like actually square. I almost never block because I'm lazy and it kind of like fixes itself. But if I was making like a blanket to sell, then I would definitely do that. But most of my stuff is just for me or my family, so it's not really a big deal. But that's it. You can use your finished Sunburst granny squares to make pillows, blankets, just a bunch of awesome stuff. And you can use different color combinations. These would look really cute in all one color. Or I've seen some where every row is a different color. It's just totally up to you. But thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to follow us and head over to the blog if you're looking for more free patterns and tutorials. But thank you so much for watching.